In this series, we'll be joined by a couple of College of DuPage's top transfer destination universities to talk about what transferring looks like in our current remote learning environment. Joining us today from Northern Illinois University is Amanda. Good afternoon, Amanda. How are you today?
Hi, Justin. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, still working remotely.
Yeah,
How about you?
understanding. Yep, same here.
I wanted to start off if you could tell us a little bit about what Northern Illinois University's campus looks like this fall. Are you guys back on campus or remote or in some kind of hybrid format?
So we are currently doing a hybrid model with most classes being online, and then there are some in-person, like labs, student teaching, clinicals, those types of activity, but they're very limited.
Okay. Speaking of, how many students roughly transfer to NIU every year?
Yeah, roughly 1,500. So this last fall, we had 1,500 students come in. Yeah, it's pretty typical. Obviously, ebbs and flows every year, but that's what we had this fall.
Okay, 1,500 students. That's a lot of transfer students.
Yeah, it's
Um,
about half of our student population.
okay, about how many of those come from COD? Do you know?
Yeah, so out of the 1,500 this fall, 160 were from COD. So it's definitely a large transfer population for us.
Yeah, that is a large population of COD students. So that's good to know. It's good to hear. And, maybe some of our students will run into each other on your campus.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of transferring, are there any online planning tools that Northern has available for students or ones that you would recommend students use?
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously recommend talking to the advisor at COD first, mainly because we work really well and really close with all of you to make sure that they're up to date on any new transfer advising for our academic programs. But I'd also recommend checking out our transfer credit page where the student can select COD and then they can select the academic program. And it
Mhm.
shows them their transfer guide and any additional helpful information like deadlines. So it's a really great option. We're also doing virtual appointments one-on-one. So students are welcome to set up an appointment with me or one of our other transfer counselors. And I mean, that's our job really to help make that smooth transition. So we're here virtually too.
Okay, those sound like some great tools for our students to use. Um, but also, thinking about transferring, are there any majors at NIU that are difficult for students to transfer into?
Yeah, there's a couple. The most competitive program that we have is our nursing program. The deadline each year is January 15th, and that's for a whole academic year. So for the upcoming fall 2021, spring 2022 semesters, a student needs to make sure they apply by January 15th of 2021. And then we also, for the nursing program, transfer students have to fill out two applications. So one specifically for the university and one for the nursing program. So it's just a little bit more information that they need to know in order to make sure they're getting everything set up in the right way. Our School of Theater and Dance is also a somewhat difficult transfer, mainly because it is a four-year program. So students are going to spend a lot of time, in that specific one. So they might want to transfer a little bit sooner than they thought. And our College of Business and College of Education programs aren't necessarily difficult, but there are some prerequisite courses that we would highly recommend they take before they transfer so that they can make the most of their time and money at both institutions.
Okay, that's good. So, with those majors, is there any advice you have for students planning early? Is it talking to you sooner rather than later, or are there any other tips you have for students in those programs?
Yeah, my biggest thing is exactly what you said. Reach out early and as often as you feel comfortable. I mean, you don't have to reach out, every 2 weeks, but if you feel like you have questions, that's what we're here for. That's what the COD advisors are here for. And it's better to reach out at the beginning of their time at COD so that we can make sure that everyone's on the same page, that they're completing everything in a timely manner. I'd also recommend taking classes seriously because there are some programs that require that cumulative GPA to be a certain point. So like nursing has to be a minimum 2.75, accountancy a 3.0. So they just want to make sure that they take those classes seriously. And if they fall off track, that's okay. It happens. But don't be afraid to use the resources that COD has, and even once getting to NIU that we have for tutoring and writing centers and stuff.
Those are some great tips to follow. Um, but I also want to talk. You mentioned briefly that you offer some virtual visits. Do you want to talk a little bit more about those? What types of virtual visits that you're offering?
Yeah, so we are having our open house events on October 12th, November 11th, December 5th, this semester. And then we are having a transfer specific open house in the spring, or we'll have a couple probably in the spring. And we are also offering an admitted student day for our spring 2021. 2021, it's crazy. We're already almost through 2020. But that will be on November 7th. So traditionally that pool is usually more transfer students than freshman students. So if someone has been admitted already to the university, it's a great way to get to know people within their program and make sure that they're heading those next steps like orientation. And then we also are offering, like I said, those virtual one-on-one appointments with our transfer counselors and our weekly Transfers Get Information Fridays, or we call them TGIFs, on Fridays. So.
All right. How about in-person events? Is your campus open for those, or is everything virtual?
Yeah, so it's not open yet. As long as everything continues to stay in good standing on campus at NIU, we are hoping to begin taking in-person appointments in mid-October. But students will need to pre-register to make sure that they can meet with an admissions counselor and get typically it's 1 to 2 families per tour. So it's definitely going to be a little different than normal, but more personalized.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you guys are really making it work, the current situation.
Yeah.
But also for these events, is there a special website that our students need to go to register for them?
Yeah, they can go to, it's just go.niu.edu/visit. No www. So they can see any of the available days, they can register for them, see all the different options. It'll show everything, even our virtual tours.
All right. Well, that's some great information. Thank you, Amanda, for taking time to talk with us today. We definitely value our partnership with Northern Illinois University, and we look forward to seeing you on our campus again as soon as we're all able to be.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justin.
Don't forget that you can sign up for a virtual visit with this institution and many others by going to the College of DuPage event calendar. You can also get a direct link to many top transfer destinations by going to cod.edu/transfer and clicking on the college websites and transfer information link.